Hello and welcome to Aura Talks. My name is Leandra. I'm a human design specialist and I work in the holistic health sector. And if you want to work with me, you can check all my website and all my links provided down in the description below. And in this video, we're gonna speak about the ideal environment for you. So probably you have already noticed that in terms of environment and in terms of the countries that we like, in terms of the places that we like, we are all very, very different and unique. Which means that every person has a unique environment that gives them energy, that charges you up with life force energy, where you feel your most and best authentic self. And in human design, there's 6 different environments, and each of these 6 environments still has 2 different ways on how it can show up. That means altogether we have 12 different variations of environments that are actually ideal for our physical body. Meaning here our physical body feels its best self, and that gives us safety and stability and gives us the ability to go also into a thought process, have motivation, have our view on the world, and come from our best and authentic self. And I want to go in a moment through all of them with you. And before we do that, I would highly suggest for you to check out your chart. If you have not done so yet, look at your chart, and if you use one of the resources, one of the links that I'm providing below, you can check also in the properties of the chart, which is your ideal environment. And it will say something like caves, markets, kitchens, mountains, valleys, or shores. That are the 6 options that we have. And we want to start out by talking about caves, and then we go up until shores. So if it says caves for you, hello, here I'm your fellow cave person. And caves could, of course, literally mean a cave, but in nature, but caves is actually more about the feeling, the idea of a cave. And what is a cave? Cave is a space which is very, very enclosed, which is very, very safe, which is very, very cozy and overseeable, basically. So cave people is the most, let's say, primal step on the ladder, which were about the caveman and woman in the past, and it's all about safety, stability, and security. So if you're caves, you will need a very safe and secure home where you feel enclosed, where you feel safe, where you feel cozy. Maybe you have a good lock on your door, people cannot see in, you have your own personal belongings all together where they want, you have it comfortable in here, and important, you just have one entrance and one exit. So overseeing your cave, having control over your environment is a really, really big one here. And I know what can happen when you're out of alignment, because when I don't have my cave space, then I'm really an absolute mess. And if you're caves, let me know if that resonates, if you also have that idea and that feeling that when you do not feel safe or good at home or wherever you're staying, that you're totally out of alignment, because the 1 and the 2 actually is most dependent on having the right environment, meaning cave people and markets people, for them it's actually the most important to have the right environment around them, because if not, it will totally bring them out of balance. So if you're caves, let me know, and also if that resonates. So when you're caves, meaning also having 2 big areas, 2 open floor plans, having a million doors, a million windows, kind of like a lofty building, probably doesn't feel so good in your body, and you might start even to feel anxious. And I had to experience that myself. We were living in these places where I never really felt safe, where I couldn't sleep, where I started to feel really insecure, where I started to be absolute all over the place with everything. And it has a huge impact on our whole health and well-being. So specifically for caves, it's super important that you feel safe. And whatever safe means for you, maybe some people say it needs to be on the ground floor because it gives you the base, it gives you this kind of feeling of being inside and cozy. But I have made experience in my life where when you live in a bigger city, you don't want to be the ground floor, because it gives you the idea that people can see in, it gives you the feeling that people could break in. So actually in a city, I feel more safe being a little bit higher up, whereas in the little bit more remote space, let's say, it actually does feel nice to be on the ground floor if there's a fence around it, let's say, if there's no one can see in. So it always depends on your personal environment and how you feel in that space. But safety, stability, coziness, having an overview, not too many open spaces, not too many open windows, etc. Let me know if that resonates with you. And next we will have markets, and markets people are actually quite the opposite. So with markets, it's all about the space. It's about the, it's about the openness. It's about having options. It's about going out, letting the light in. So people who have markets, they're actually really, really picky and selective about their furniture. They often have a really nice eclectic style. They love to have like a nicely set up open floor plan. They love light, they love big windows, they love the openness of things, and they love to be in communication with other people. So communication is a big one here. We can see in markets, right? You go on to markets, you trade, you exchange goods with other people. So what I see quite often is people who have markets actually love online shopping as well, or shopping in a sort of form, and having options, having variability. Maybe you want to change things regularly up in your apartment. You might want to bring yourself flowers or put pots of plants in different places, move the furniture. So really this openness, you need light, you need free space, you have a really good taste probably, and yeah, that is markets. Let me know if you have markets and if that resonates to you. Then the next one would be kitchens. If you are kitchens, you need the hustle and the bustle. So kitchen is all about becoming really creative. A lot of people who have kitchens are in the creative branch, in the creative scene. They love being in co-working spaces. They love hanging out in maybe architecture firms, maybe even a physical kitchen. Often people who have kitchens are actually also working in a kitchen or have a restaurant or whatever, and they like to spend time in the kitchen. Maybe if they're learning or studying, they sit in the kitchen or used to sit in the kitchen. Maybe if they're inviting friends, they usually will sit in the kitchen. I have a friend who even sleeps basically in her open kitchen floor plan because she just loves being close to kitchen because that's her right environment. But it is all about also being connected with other people, inviting people to your space, having this hustle bustle, co-creating with other people. So you will probably be quite extroverted person. I mean, we always have to see it in the context of your whole chart because there might be several factors that are bringing it to a different perspective, different lens, and that's why I always recommend having a personal chart reading, because here I can only give you glimpses, but we will never be able to actually fully look at your chart in a YouTube video. So yeah, if that's something that is calling you, get in touch. That's what I love doing, and I love to help you with that. But yeah, so looking at caves, markets and kitchens are so-called heart spaces. That means here we have a little bit more of your closer surroundings. So basically your home where you're living, or the studio where you're working, or the places that you find yourself in. And these people are usually more drawn towards city spaces. So they're actually perfectly made to live in the city, or a little bit more dense places where more people come together, where more action is going on. Whereas now we're moving into the more landscape theme with mountains, valleys, and shores. And here we find people who are usually better off living in nature, living a little bit more remotely. They don't really like city vibe, or don't really like to live close in the city. So yeah, let's look at the mountains. If you're a mountain person, as I said, you probably always need to spend some time in nature. You probably like the mountains, you like hiking, you like to be by yourself at all, because mountains is about withdrawing yourself from society, from the city, or from other people, to gain perspective over things, to be alone with your thoughts, with your feelings, with your emotions, and to process things from a detached perspective. So if you're a mountains person, you might like to go on hikes just by yourself, or on long walks, or you like to live on the top floor. Most people that are mountains who I know live on the top floor of the building, on the rooftop basically. And yeah, they like that. It's all about the deprivation of oxygen as well. So your body functions best if you have a little bit less oxygen available. So the higher you get up, the less oxygen you have. And yeah, let me know if that resonates with you if you're mountains. Next, we have valleys. So valleys is usually also very connected to nature. They love and need to have immediate access into maybe garden or into a nature space. Usually ground floor, therefore, is really good for people with valleys, because you do want to be able to immediately get from your room or your house into a garden space, being a little bit more grounded. Valleys, interestingly enough, is very connected to hearing, to audio sounds. So how your environment sounds is really, really important for you probably. That means that whatever that means for you, you like to have the birds sing, right? You like to have it really quiet, not having a lot of sounds, or you actually like having a certain sounds around your house. This is all connected to valleys, so you're very sensitive with your hearing, and your place where you're living or the place where you have your best energy needs to sound right for you. It is all about also living close and proximate to people who you like and trust and know, meaning you always have the same bakery where you get your bread, you always have the same shop where you go grocery shopping, you talk to the people who live there, right? And you have your friends all living in close proximity to you, where you know you can meet, where you have your trusted spots all around you basically. So valley people have this closed off community around them and go really well, maybe a small village or a little bit more of a countryside vibe, where you have all your places just around you available, and where you can exchange the new gossip, the new information with your friends and everyone around you. Next, we have shores, and shores is the, let's say, most advanced one of all of the environments, and it's not a judgment, it's just basically showing us evolution, coming from the cave, going to markets, then we had the kitchens, going out into nature, exploring the mountains, then going down into the valley, exchanging information. Last, we have the shores, which is all about basically exchanging cultures, exchanging different viewpoints. So if you're shores, you might like to dip into big cities where there's like a lot of different cultures coming together. You like to dip your toe into everything. Maybe New York would be a shore place, right? Where you just go in and you're like going into the Indian town, going to Korean town, going into Chinatown, checking out all the different cultures. But you would probably not want to live right in there. You just want to go to explore there. You would want to live a little bit on the outskirts, a little bit more on the countryside, to from the border, from the city to the countryside basically. So shores is all about where two different environments come together, where borders happen, meaning maybe you also want to live on the shore, so having a body of water is really beneficial for you because you like to be close to the coastline, but you also like to have the land available. So living right on the coast strip basically, to have both of these different environments available and knowing you could go into either or direction, or living on the border of maybe New York, knowing you could go to all these different cultural places, but also being able to retreat into nature if you want. So what I see quite often with my clients who have shores is that they have several bases, or they just love to travel and just have different standpoints where they spend some time over the year. I have a friend who is shores, who will constantly maybe spend 2 months here, then go 2 months there, 2 months there. She will basically be a digital nomad. I know another person with shores who has 2 different bases, one in Germany, one in Greece, where they go from one to the other and live in 2 different locations. So that's a very typical shore scenario where you feel really, really good probably. So if you're shores, let me also know if that resonates with you. And as I was already saying, we have 2 different variations of that. I'm not going to go into that in depth in this video because the overall meaning will stay the same depending on which, we call it, variable you have about that. But if you want to go deeper into that, you can contact me for a personal reading, or I'm sure you also find some information somewhere else, but the general meaning will stay the same. So I'm super curious, did that resonate with you? If so, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'm here to help you with everything about human design. You can contact me through my website, book a reading, and yeah, like and subscribe to my channel if you want. I'm sending you so much love, and bye for now.